And we are live again, gentlemen. Another edition of FTMIG live on the Midas Network.
How are you, my friend?
How are you, bud?
I'm very well. For people that don't know, you should know. Greg, Carl, and Brandon.
We're here.
Lots to talk about today. Do you want to go through who's going to be on the show beforehand?
Can you tell us who's on the show?
I can tell you right now who's on the show. Thank you, Greg. That's a very nice segue. We've got Nutritional High is coming on the show. They came in the studio. We had David Posner and Adam Szweras. I think I said it better there, Adam. I hope
Szweras.
I did. And they are coming on to talk about their company there. We had Penny Green, President and CEO of Yield Growth Corp. A lot of nutraceuticals, topicals, things like that. She'll be on the show as well. We are going to stay tuned to see if we have Jonny Mac coming on the show to break down our 3 stocks that were in our poll in our Facebook group. Those were Hexo, T-God, and I'm missing the third one, which is? Afria. Of course, that one's a hot topic right now.
Oh, of course.
But gentlemen, we got over what's on the show. What's going on in your minds?
Oh, you know, I was just listening to you. Looking at your shirt.
Sometimes it's hard to
Look, he's always chirping my shirt. Folks, go in the comments right now. What do you think of this shirt? He's always chirping it. What do you think of his? Actually, you wore a nice shirt today. I really like that shirt. I do. But always chirping the seagulls. Chirping this one. Some beautiful blue flowers.
I got my GGB up here. I like the volume. Lots of crosses from Dundee Capital and Canaccord. Some buyers maybe loading up.
What's the volume on today? What we got?
1.387.
Jesus.
Afria just spiked a little bit. Weed broke out. It's actually at the high of the day right now.
Weed's
43, 45.
Yeah, weed is flying.
Yeah, so that's lifting up the sector.
What's the Dow look like?
I just want to say congratulations to all of those that got in the tax loss selling. That was pretty heavy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Bargain hunting, because there's been some really nice pops here. Probably maybe a little bigger than normal. So obviously things were, viciously sold off, and
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of good signs as well. If we can go to my NDI really quickly, I want to show something. I went into, I'd seen Evenco breaking out very recently, and we brought it to the Evenco Facebook group. We got a visual here. So you'll see the last 6 months or so of trading here. You'll see, obviously, this is where the market was pulling back, and then it traded in this channel for a good long while. And you'll see right around here, what day is this? This is
Jonny Mac broke
December
that
28th.
down pretty well too.
He broke it, and what I'm doing right now, and what I'm going to say is exactly what I learned from Jonny Mac. Actually, is that
Good call.
we've got a higher low here, but then look at this candle right here. This is a strong candle, but there wasn't much volume with it. But if you look at the bottom of my screen, you'll see the PPO, and when you see that blue line crossing the red line, like you do right here, where that line is going down towards, that's when you start seeing a possible bullish breakout. But you need a couple other things to go with it. One of which, that needs to cross above 0. And also, you need to have volume coming through it. So if you look right here, you saw this little bit of a breakout, then we saw a doji coming right here. Doji obviously being it open and closed the exact same price. You got a wick on top, a wick on the bottom, so that neither the bull or the bear had that game. Sometimes the bear had it, sometimes the bull, but it closed right at the same spot, so indecision. And sorry, just put up that NDI one more time, because what I want to show is this was the bullish breakout right here, this third candle. When I saw that, that's when I brought it, and you see the Bollinger Band start widening up a bit. We brought it into the Evenco group, I think 2 days ago, so on Monday, and say, hey, watch out for this. As soon as that candle broke through that 100 moving day average, but also the Bollinger Bands, that's where you see the volume coming in, confirming it. We had a bullish breakout. Anybody who grabbed anywhere in here, from the bottom of this day, back on December 28th, to the top of this as well, you saw almost a 70% gain from that little part right there in a week's time, 4 trading days. For anyone who got in there and was trading that, congratulations. That's a good
who
rip.
needs Jonny Mac when you got Brandon?
Yeah. Oh, you still need Jonny Mac. I just love it though, because I hear the stuff he says, I soak it in.
Yeah.
I've always been a fundamentalist. You and I, Greg, we've been trading for a while. But when it comes to TA, it's, that's an aspect that we're adding to. You have to.
Yeah.
add to your game, and a lot of that's from Jonny Mac. He's a skilled guy, so I'm hoping we see him at 2 o'clock.
Yeah, I got in on Eve at that point too, like at roughly like 28.
Yeah.
So, but when it broke out the first time, I ended up getting rid of it just because I didn't trust it because of, well, that guy is still holding a lot of shares, so who knows what's going to happen, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what else are we looking at?
A couple of things here, actually. So some of the things that were trending over the last little while was really interesting to see. There's an article that came out from Bloomberg that was specifically stating that cannabis is still going to be in a shortage for another 3 years. And we call it bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Because you start looking into that, and that's just simply not true. There's a quote here from Chuck Raffici. There's a lot of execution risk. People are expanding by 10 or 20 times. There's a lot of room for error. And you know what, Chuck? You're absolutely right. Chuck was one of those people that was a part of Canopy in the early going. He does know what he's talking about, but also with one of those people, you'd expect the longer supply glut is going on, the better it is for product pricing, for share price pricing. But we were looking into it. The Financial Post stated that this is back in October, that the annual estimated demand of cannabis is 610,600 kilograms of cannabis. Yet in Believe's investor presentation, let me see if I can quickly pull this up. Don't pull my NDI just yet. There was a number in there where they're clearly showing that even just funded on 11 LPs, they have enough to be able to supply that. So I don't know. You can pull up my NDI here. And thank you for the people over Believe to this here. But you'll see this is the fully funded cannabis. And just between those 11 LPs, I say 11 because FV Pharma does not have anything funded apparently, that is over 2 million kilograms of cannabis. Most of that stuff's coming online this year.
I can see that.
That's gonna be
you made the point too of the fact that some of this has to be distributed to like Europe and places like that too, right? So they're just talking about the shortage of cannabis in Canada.
Yeah.
Right. So who was it? Up Cannabis, New Strike. They had to recall a lot of their cannabis because a lot of these people are keeping cannabis stored and it's going bad, right? So now who knows if it can be used. So we might have a shortage, but I don't think so either.
Well, you know what I always say.
What do you always say, Carl?
People lie. Numbers don't.
Numbers don't. That's very true. You do
well
say that quite often. Who else had recalls? Wasn't it Redican as well?
Yes, that's exactly.
They had little bugs in there.
Yeah.
But people speak about bugs and that you introduce that to cannabis. But
what other companies will come out with that kind of
makes you think,
right?
man. Like if all of these recalls and things are happening with these big licensed producers, what do you think's happening in the black market?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Spraying it.
Like if they're under scrutiny, and like, what do you think's happened?
Yeah, and I've said that for a long time. Like a lot of these people are saying the great market's going to flourish and all that. I think it was Bruce Linton. I went to a lunch and he was talking there, and he said there's going to be a campaign coming out this year, basically talking about what's in your shit.
Yeah, it's good.
And it was a pun because obviously like, what's in your soil, like what are you actually putting in your cannabis?
Yeah.
And how the black market.
I could have said what's in your poo.
I could have said what food, but I didn't. I thought I was going to take a little trucker mouth here. Calling me out for it, huh?
Not you, I'm saying.
But it's true, though.
Just likes poo.
They just spray stuff, and they spray chemicals all over this can, and they would never know. Yet it's clearly not going to get past Health Canada. That's one thing they've done very well.
Yeah.
Is that they are testing this product and they're making sure that does not get out to you with that type of product. You learned that lesson a little while ago. But I thought that was just interesting. A lot of people keep saying we're supply, but no, we're not. By the end of this year, going into next year, I think we're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But who am I? Who am I? I'm just a guy.
Yeah. I mean, it is speculation, right? But you never know with expansion plans. Things go wrong. Things might not work out.
Yeah.
Things go moldy, all that kind of stuff, recalls. But from the looks of it, like you said, numbers don't lie. If the numbers are right, we'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, on that mark, we've got something we're going to be talking about after this, and I know we've mentioned it before, Carl's mentioned it before, Greg's mentioned it before, I've mentioned it before, is the Bridgemark scandal. So there was a development in that last night. An article came out, and another name we haven't heard before. So that's coming up, but first, we're going to check in with Nutritional High and see what they had to do with their companies. We went to their Facebook group, actually, and to our investors. We asked a lot of questions. What questions did you want answered? We took them into the interview. We got them answered. You can hear it now. And we're joined here today with David Posner and Adam Szweras.
Szweras.
The third time. Joining us from Nutritional High, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Great. Awesome.
And we had rehearsed that earlier as well, but I gave my most valiant effort there.
Just Adam.
There.
I mean, I think it took my wife a year or two to even get it down. So,
yeah. Well,
Adam,
pleasure to have you on here. And gentlemen, for our viewers who have not heard of you before or are getting caught up on you, what is the elevator pitch of who Nutritional High is?
Well, I mean, the elevator pitch on Nutritional High. So Nutritional High, we were the first Canadian traded company that was focused on in the US market. We did an actual IPO at the beginning, and what we were focused on was getting into the edible market. And what we did was created a base of extraction, and that base of extraction has kind of flowed through to a whole variety of different products into a whole variety of different states. So we really we started in Colorado, but we really have a vast multi-state presence now, and which with our primary focus on the California market. We feel it's the biggest market. We've really focused a lot of our attention to it, and we really have a West Coast presence.
I'd say manufacturing, brand, and distribution.
Yeah, and that especially in California as well. California is a massive state, and they really are pushing forward with their edibles. I was out there a little while ago, very interesting. And I believe you're also venturing into Nevada. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think it's Green Therapeutics is what you're working with there. How are things going in Nevada?
So we have agreements in place with Green Therapeutics to make that acquisition. We're going to be acquiring 75%. We have everything before the regulators, and we're waiting on the regulators. And in the meantime, we're working to integrate our operations. We're working closely with their team, which is now becoming our team. We're working together right now.
Very nice. Yeah, and that's another place, actually. I was just out in Nevada recently, and that cannabis market is absolutely booming. I was fascinated by how many products are in these different dispensaries, but also the prices that you can get for these products. The margins must be fantastic in Nevada, because there's obviously the strong demand, and supply has not cut up there from what it seems like.
Yeah, the margins in Nevada are tremendous. I mean, we're really excited to go into Nevada, and because of the strong California presence that we built, you have to remember the amount of tourists from California that are actually in Nevada. I don't want to quote the exact number, but it's in the 30% range. So, having our brand strength in California really kind of transforms it, and people, can get these products in Nevada as well. So that was a big part of the acquisition. Was we acquired a really amazing operations team, and I think this is the one thing in the industry that people are going to be focused on a lot more is, having these strong operations teams. So It's one thing to say, we're going to go here, we're going to do that, but to have the best of the best in all these states is our focus. We're not just there during an acquisition to acquire, a facility. We're really focused on the operations team.
Which is one reason why we were able to swing the licensing of the Marley brand in the Marley Naturals brand in Washington and Oregon. It was really because the privateer, the Marley family, believed that we could execute. You can see with our numbers over the past few quarters that we're executing, and we're really excited about now telling the story about what we've been doing, not what we're just going to do.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge thing in 2019, where people, we've spoken for many years now about potential. Now a lot of investors are really looking around and just saying, okay, and you've been talking about potential for a long time, not you guys, the market, and now we want to see results.
Well,
we want to see people selling.
We've been talking potential as well, and over the past year, I mean, we have made a conscious decision to stop talking about potential and to focus on execution. So we haven't been doing big IR pushes in 2018, but if you look right now where our numbers are, compare us to Origin House. That's our biggest competitor in California. I think the reported revenue, we're about a $1 million difference, yet our market cap is 73 million, and their market cap is over 400 million.
Yeah.
So who's the good buy?
Yeah, definitely a discrepancy there.
And I think this is what people have to look at right now. You have to, if you take all the cannabis companies that are publicly traded, you look at their revenue, look at their growth, look at their profitability, and look at their market cap. So when you do that, not that we're biased in any way, but we really believe Nutritional High might be the best buy on the street right now. So I mean, but I really think as just an investor in general, I think this is what people have to really look at, is the growth these people are having, really their revenue and run rates that they have. And there's one thing what's going to be in the future, but it's what's today. So having companies that can execute right now means everything in the marketplace right now. And some of these, I don't want to say companies are overvalued or undervalued, or point any exact fingers, but there's some companies that have really, really large market caps, and compare their revenue to ours, And then you have to look at the fact that we are not growers. We're actually, creating, these extracts and these edibles, and our margins are way, way higher. So it's not like we're in a highly commoditized, sector of the cannabis space.
Actually, and that's an interesting thing. If we actually grew our own flower, and you added that, and then we used that flour and sold that flour, our revenue would be much higher. Our margins wouldn't be that much higher. Our margins would be lower. So actually, what we've been doing is focusing on that high margin aspect of the business, and I think now it's going to be very soon start to pay dividends, show dividends for our company, show that.
And that's really interesting because we always turn to our different online communities and having questions to see if they want to hear what they want to hear from management. And one of them was exactly that. Do you have plans on being a seed to sale type of fully vertical, or do you have plans instead that's not worry about that aspect? That's a whole other logistic you don't have to think about. Instead, let's continue the product formulations and marketing and those type of strategies. So that actually answers that person's question right there on what they're going to go out and look for a grower and start doing that yourselves.
Yeah, I look at it this way. Does Nabob grow their own coffee beans? No. I mean, we decided to focus on oils and edibles and brand, and the distribution is a really important aspect of that, and it's a really great business, and it gets us to the shelves, and it gets other partner brands to the shelves as well, and we're quite happy with that. We don't want to crowd out our distribution customers and partners, but we're going to be putting out brands, continue to put out brands, and meet that demand. We don't need to do everything well. We don't need to grow, and we don't want to grow.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And I think what's even, on the distribution side, the most important part of distribution, aside from, being able to really service, these dispensaries and service people properly, is at the end of the day, we have true market intelligence. So, when you're sitting and you're, just as we were discussing before this, when you walk in and you go into a dispensary and you start asking for certain things, or the people in the dispensary really understand what's going on. So when you constantly have your salespeople at these dispensaries all the time, we're getting the feedback. We understand what the new products and the new, what we think the new products are really going to be that are going to take over a big part of the market. And it's not because we're guessing, it's because this is what people are asking for. So this is what we've really been focused on, is instead of, trying to create what we think is going to be the next thing, we want to know, what the customer base really wants. And the only way to do that is have people, on the streets, in the dispensaries, and there. So that's, because I say, the biggest lesson in the whole cannabis industry over the last 5 years. So.
Yeah, and that actually leads to a really good question, actually, because we were talking about, we were just saying how we're going to talk about the now, what you're currently doing, but there's also a potential and a growth aspect, and that's with Ayurvedic and coming into the Canadian landscape. Obviously, seeing what's working in the United States and what isn't working, you're testing that formula now before bringing it over to Canada. What is your current Canadian strategy, even though we are still, 9 months out or so before they begin having that, but do you guys have a current Canadian strategy and how that's going to work with Ayurvedic?
It's in development right now. I mean, our strategy has been to really focus on getting it right in the U.S. and being ready to be really fast out of the gate in Canada in a way that can elevate our our company, our brand, I think we will have great opportunity in Canada, and we think it's a hugely important market for us. Not in flour, in oils, edibles, branded product.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Canada gives us also a base, and I'd say Canada for us is, obviously, this is our home. We want to, we went and we started years ago. We went to the U.S. and, we've created, this company. But at the same time, it's becoming a launch pad for us. So being able to manufacture here, there's so many different markets. So, our company's Nutritional High International. We want to have an international base. So to be able to take these products into the European market, and whether it's, Germany or there's so many companies that Portugal's just opening up. Greece is opening up now, on the medical side. So, Europe's a massive market. So we wanted to have that base out of Canada too, that we can, take our product.
In medical, whether medical or adult use, Canada's a hugely important player for the international market as well, as David's saying. We from the U.S. we can't export. From Canada we would be able to export, and we think that with oils and edibles emerging as probably, as you've seen in many U.S. states, the most important category. Or categories. It's a number of categories for both medical and adult use. You're going to have great export opportunities.
And that's why we've seen a lot of American companies or ones that have bases in America also have some sort of launch pad. I think you used the exact word you used in Canada for that exact reason, getting things globally and reaching out those different areas.
And I think there's two parts to it too. One's having the capacity to do it. I really believe that when it's all said and done in this cannabis market, that everybody's going to always say Canadian products are quality. Canadian growers and they're going to associate Canada with being the best of the best in this field. So that's a big part of it, is for us to create these products and have Canadian, made in Canada products. It's very important to us. I think just on the quality of our brand going forward.
Very nice. Well, on products specifically, there were a couple other questions that had come in from our people in our community. One of them was on your NU tabs, your nutraceutical tabs, where I believe that was announced in Q3. Do you have an update of where we're going with that and how that product is going to hit the market?
Yeah, I think it's a dynamic process getting new products launched, but they've been moving that forward quite well. And so we'll be making product launch announcements once it's in the stores. But we're really excited about that product. It's a unique product. It's a product that combines natural components along with cannabis that are compliant, and we'll really create an interesting category there. We think the energy and cannabis together, I think, will be a really great product.
Yeah, and you see things like that in Europe and stuff like that, where CBD and those types of products that don't have THC in it, mind you, they're going around as nutritional products in wellness, opposed to the way we're seeing it in North America right now, where those are looking at, well, that's a Schedule II drug, which is something I've always been curious about myself, but that's off topic. But no, it'll be interesting. I think we are going to move that way, specifically with 0.3 THC and less for those types of products. So that'd be it'd be very, very interesting. Now, you also do licensing or sub-licensing with products like you did in Colorado. Is that a strategy moving forward, that as you have these different products, you're looking to also white label them or sub-license to other vendors? Or is your focus now more so, no, this is what we're doing, we're going to grow our platform instead?
Well, in Colorado, we weren't allowed to be licensed. So all we really could do was we bought land. We offered our know-how and our processes to a local producer. We've been helping that local producer in order to execute, but we can't run that business, and we can't own that business. In the states where we can, we want to run it and own it, primarily because it's a nascent industry, and we're finding that the white labeling and finding contract manufacturer partners in this industry, it's hard. Many people have tried. Some have done really well, others haven't, and we've just figured that keeping control over our own product manufacturing for the immediate future, it's the way to go. Eventually, it would be great to have other people specializing in manufacturing. We focus on brand, but right now we're going to keep control over our inputs in our product.
Very nice. Yeah, that was another question that came from our community. So I appreciate you answering, because that was one of the things they were curious about. Is that going to be something going forward?
Well, it's also, the base of all this is the oil and the extraction process. So we have something unique on our extraction process. We have really high quality oil that's been going from state to state. So we part of it's to have the consistency of it, but it's not like somebody else can make the oil for us that's at the same quality. So this is why we're going to do it, and over time people are going to get better and better. They're going to become better growers, better extractors, better, and then this opens up different opportunities. But as Adam's saying, we have to control this, and we actually want to control it. We take pride in what we've kind of created and our extraction method, and we want to. This is like the symbol of our company. You know what I mean?
It's our intel inside. I mean, that's the secret ingredient. Is the really high quality oil.
Yeah, very nice. So moving into we're now in 2019, but continuing throughout the year and moving beyond as well. What does it look like when it comes to your current funding? Are you going to be looking for financing in the near future, or are we fully funded and ready to go for some of the things you have planned for this year?
I would just say growth companies always need funding. If there's a new horizon, you need funding to tackle that new horizon. We're no different. We have no financings planned or in the mix, but we are always looking and open to partnerships and the right arrangements.
Absolutely. Well, that leads to my last question then, and this is the speculative one, because this is what many investors are thinking of right now. We're seeing, Green Growth Brands and Freya and all these other, Aurora, Canopy, all these deals and M&As going on. Is there something that you're looking for in the horizon? Is that an option for you, or are you saying you're going to stick with the ship right now and continue going? Where are we on that world, the speculative world?
Well, it's funny because Adam and I are co-chairs, but my sister's actually my younger sister's the chairman of Green Growth Brands. So we've kind of seen the evolution of it, and we've seen what can happen when somebody comes in that has a great skill set and can take you to the next level. So we're always open. There's people in the industry, whether it's on the pharma side, in the tobacco side, in the food product side. If you can come in and have a great partner, it always has to be an option, I think.
We're open to anything creative. We're looking to build the company and to be a long-term player in this space.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate very much for coming on the show. It's a pleasure having you on.
Thank you very much.
And we'd love to have you on in the near future as well, as we always love watching the progress of all these companies who come on the show, talk to us, and we can see what you're doing throughout the year. So again, thank you very much. And for our viewers,
thanks for having us. It was great.
Oh, absolutely. And sorry, but for our viewers, where they can find out more information for you really quickly, and where they can find you on the stock exchange.
Yep. EAT in Canada as SPLIF, Spliff. Can tell who comes up with our ticker symbols, and www.nutritionalhigh.com.
Perfect.
And it's 2NU on the Frankfurt Exchange. So we also have a Frankfurt
We
listing.
didn't pick that one, though.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, guys. And we are back. Thank you very much, Adam and David. I appreciate you coming to the show.
That was a great interview, Brandon.
Yeah.
I really, really like their business model.
It's interesting, and I like the fact that they said, I don't want to be a grower.
Well, yeah, it was interesting when they said, hey, if we were to grow pot, our margins really wouldn't be much better.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
Yep.
But they're into the brands, the edibles, the oils,
and that's
high margin stuff.
Yeah, and that's the stuff you want to, that's a whole other aspect of your business you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. If you could do the whole thing top to bottom and you were able to pull it off, that's fantastic. But they're fully just saying, cannabis is going to be a commodity. We'll get good quality cannabis, but what we're doing is we're creating the products, we're creating the brands, we're doing all the, I like that. You know what? That's a whole element of operational risk you don't have to worry about anymore.
No, I really like.
I like the point where they mentioned to investors to look into who's a better buy kind of thing, to look into Origin House, for example, who they said is their biggest competitor, and look into market caps and look who is the better buy, right? What were they saying? That their market cap is
400 million, I think?
No, that was Origin House.
I think this is like 67 or 87 million.
right.
Yeah,
But
compared
they're-
to, yeah.
what was it? $1 million off of revenue from them.
Yeah.
Like that's,
Well, that revenue is going to drive this thing.
Yeah, and
They
that's
also gave GGB a nice little shout out there at the end.
they did. I almost like I had to like hide my face for a second there. I'm like, I did not know that.
Everyone's a little excited about that company.
Yeah, and rightfully so. It's ripping. Look,
It's at
ripping.
$5.59 right now.
Yeah, and we, we were told about that a long time ago. GGB, Green Growth Brands, it went public, and people were still talking about them. But I think obviously that Afria information and everything's going on there, the takeout, whatever it be, that got people talking about the stock. It's been moving.
Yeah, it's up. It's got some good volume today. But yeah, let's get to
what did you want to talk about?
the bridge mark here.
So the bridge mark. So for those who are just tuning in, bridge mark fiasco we've been talking about for actually longer than we've talked about GGB. It's still an investigation, like we always say. Let the securities commissions do their thing. But one of the big elements is that essentially, unlike with marketers and promoters, which are not bad, that's how you get marketing, and you always have to pay for these types of things. But it's when they're doing millions and millions of these special consultant shares that allow them to be free trading right away, and then they may not even give those consulting services, which the article I'm going to read from basically is alleging that. And yeah, it's huge. So if we can get my NDI up here, I'm going to read something really quickly here. And this was last night. This was posted out in BC. I'm not sure if there we go.
Very
There.
interesting read, that's for sure.
Convicted fraud artist at center of crypto cannabis shares scheme. And thank you, Pat Martin, for throwing this into our cannabis chats. So this was going on, and it's saying a once-in-prison security fraudster convicted in Germany of illegal market manipulation appears at the center of this manipulation from the Bridgemark scheme. So he was convicted. His name is Ali Babu Maui. So we've got some interesting names coming on the show.
Not been booty.
And not been booty. Yes, this is correct. And but essentially, back in 2012, he was convicted of a massive pump and dump scheme with BC Connections, but this was in Germany. It was for 25.7 million euros from investors. He was sentenced to 38 months in prison. Yet he is one of the main people who were behind this scandal. So it continues, if you can put it back up the screen here. BC applied orders against him and 26 other associated firms. This is not something that's small. This is actually a really, really large organization, collectively dubbed the Bridgemark Group. So it goes on, 11 Canadian securities, but what's really interesting here is if we scroll down here, this is, we've had him on our show before, from Prevceuticals. So Prevceuticals is now suing them because we noticed in their Form 9s that these people were on their raises, and we were telling people, check the Form 9s.
Good old
Carl said that specifically, check the Form 9 that tells you these people are on the raise, because we noticed when certain people are on there, it later goes in this article, states Anthony Jackson and many others. When you're seeing their names on there, there's a lot of these types of actions that are happening. So Prevceutical is basically stating that it's a victim of a conspiracy by Maui and Liu, who are alleged to have set up $2.8 million worth of consulting agreements. Again, this is not just getting a contract for marketing or whatever. This is massive amounts of money in terms of stock. And then they're doing a raise for them. Unbeknownst to Prevceutical, the article goes on, at no time did the defendants intend to provide these services, is what they believe. December 18th, 2018. Notice that the claim is stating the defendants have not filed a response to that. What goes further than this, actually, and you can read the article, we'll put up the URL for that later. He's going on basically stating that he was, he being then Deventer, this is the CEO of Prevceutical, was approached by Mackey Research, he's stating, and basically vouched for these people. And that's how these guys get you, right? A lot of these people are looking at these companies saying, oh, they ripped us off. I was convinced that some of these companies actually, unfortunately, didn't do the proper due diligence, or these guys are really, really amazing white-collar criminals. Like, they're not your dumb guys, they're doing it very intelligently. 26 firms. It sounds like Prevceutical may be caught up in this, but there's this one part that caught my eye. And when Anthony Jackson If you put up the screen again, as this is an article, so we're just showing what's on the article. He was a part of the old CFO for Speakeasy Cannabis and the Bridgemark Group. There's a line here at the very end, and it says, he told Glacier Media, the group, this is the lawyer for him, for Jackson, he told Glacier Media the group doesn't exist and that it's legal fiction.
Yeah, I almost did it.
All right, Anthony.
No, you held it.
I still have the face.
Yeah, you still got the
you guys
face.
didn't hold the face.
I tried, man. Like,
It's
Should've went to me first.
absolutely remarkable how this is transpiring. A lot of our members, myself, I was a part of Block Play. That's not in this investigation yet, and I lost money from it. I never sold, but I still down a lot of
I'm
money
not
from
going to
that.
take credit for the Form 9 thing. That was some friends of mine that passed that info over to us because they knew that Preb was coming on the show, and they're like, hey, I think it was Cam was in the PP, and it was unfortunate because we were just about to have them on the show, but it turns out that they probably got caught up in this, and it's unfortunate for their shareholders. I'm actually in the Prevacutical Facebook group, and you can just see those people. It sucks.
oh yeah.
And shit like this that we really need to get out of the markets, right? I mean, it's one thing if you're providing a service, but clearly, I always say it's all about your intentions, right? And it looks like these people and the intentions here were just bad.
Yeah.
Just fucking brutal.
And that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, it really is making marketing in these different areas where everyone is always worried about getting marketing out there. If you're going to the Financial Post, it could be almost like $25,000 just for one article.
Yeah.
Let alone, so the services, it's marketing. Services cost.
Well,
but
now you're in the Financial Post, but just they're not paying for it.
correct. But it's just one of those things, though, that we're looking at like 15, 20, 25 million shares at such a low cost, and they're free trading because they're special consulting. I wish I remember what it was. It was like Form 22 or Rule 22. It's eluding me right now, but there's a certain exemption, and that's where the line has been drawn with this, and that's what they're investigating now.
Yeah, so
Where these
they're
supposed to be no
extorting
shares.
loopholes in this stuff. I mean, it's clear intent, but they'll have their day in court. But it's important. Listen, we took some risk here. We were talking about this crap all summer long. So I mean, we did our best to let people know to look into the Form 9s, and this is when people were caught up. Yeah, and so
you gotta pay attention.
Weed is ripping 44.29 last trade.
44 now.
Yeah, 44.
Wow, that's like
it's up
30
12%, 3.5 million.
12% on
Let
what,
me get their
7
chart up if you want to throw my NDI. I don't think there's going to be an acronym I'm going to use more in 2019 than NDI.
Back to the Bridgemark. Listen, that story is still just getting started.
Yeah.
Trust me, it'll be a topic on here and many different media platforms for probably
You're
a
gonna
year.
see Carl on Netflix with a special.
So we might see more coming out of wheat here, guys, because this is not done. Look at this. This is exactly what we pulled up with Eve, and I believe AUSA, AUSA had the same thing.
Just hit 13% for the
So
day.
if you look down here again, look, it's the same thing. The PPO's crossed, it's coming up to 0. You've got a little bit of a spike in volume that looks more than the day before, but what's interesting is it just broke through its 200 SMA. It broke through its 50-day SMA. These are the lines, by the way. The orange line is the 200-day, and the red line is the 50, and it's about to break outside of those Bollinger Bands.
So now it's all about the close. Got to watch out for the close.
Yeah, exactly. And in no means are we experts when it comes to charting. That's why we turn to experts when we talk to them. But it's interesting. That's been showing up in a few of these cannabis stocks lately, where the Bollinger Bands have been coming in, and they've been trading a little bit of a channel, and they're just waiting to burst.
What's the S&P at right now? And the NASDAQ?
I do not know. I've got a form here. I'm sure I can find it out as well. But I think they were ripping as well. And it's interesting, actually. The FTMIG fear bot. I love that.
That thing never lies.
I love it. It doesn't. It doesn't.
Well, it's-
Can we
this is-
get another thing of my NDI here?
You know what sucks is that I see the fear meter going more towards people are not scared, and I'm like, shit.
So I'm gonna put something here.
You should have put more in.
No,
So we
dude.
do FG here. It's a command that comes through because we have trading bots put. So I'm going to pull this up. This right here will show you the fear 28, the fear of greed, where this goes through 7 different components. It goes through like the momentum of the market, puts versus calls, and I can't recall the other 5 things, but they're all in there. This was at 10.
Listen,
just a little while ago. It's getting, people are getting greedy.
Not advice, but every time that thing was like at the 10, it was a fucking fantastic time to buy.
Yeah.
Like the next day, there's always a pop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you buy?
I bought once, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So hey, look, things are ripping right now. It's interesting. Don't get your FOMO.
Don't buy
just-
off a bot.
Yeah,
we're
don't,
just saying.
Don't just run into something because we say there might be a breakout or something like that. Do your due diligence.
Yeah.
But in the end, we
You
got some
sounded
runners.
French there.
Did I?
You really did.
Did I sound like the Quebecers? That from the French. Yeah.
Don't do that one.
Yeah, I didn't have it. But we're going to go
As we
into-
drink our coffee.
Yeah, as you drink your coffee. Another company actually that's been interesting. I thought it was trading longer than this. It's only been trading for a couple of weeks. It's Boss. It's the High Yield Corp. We had
Yield Growth
Penny.
Corp.
Forgive me. High Yield Growth Corp.
Forgiven.
That is a tongue twister. We have Penny Green come in here, CEO and president. And we were talking about theirs, where it's a lot about topicals and creams and the whole other aspect that we're going to be going into. The states have already started.
Mm-hmm.
Canada will be soon. Lots of opportunity there. But yeah, we touched base with Penny. This is what she had to say. And we're joined here today from BC. We have Penny Green, CEO and president of the Yield Growth Corp, found on the CSC and also the OTC as well. How are you doing today?
I'm great, Brandon. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, and thanks for coming on the show. And for investors who may not have heard your company before, or just starting to do their due diligence on you, who are you, and what is it that your company is currently doing?
Sure. The Yield Growth Corp is a new type of investment, a new type of cannabis company. We are building assets in the cannabis space. Our first set of assets is really focused on topicals. So we started with about a catalog of around 50 different formulas that were created based on the ancient principles of Ayurvedic medicine. And that was about a year ago. Since then, we've been very busy assembling an amazing team and bringing those products to market. So as you may know, in Canada, the legislation around topicals for cannabis hasn't been completely released. So we're really still in prohibition. So we tried to think of a way that we could get to market before all the rules made it legal to do topicals. So we came out with our first product line called Urban Juve. Urban Juve is a personal care line that can be sold in any store. Could be sold in Sephora or Shoppers Drug Mart. We don't have those agreements signed yet, but theoretically anywhere, because it doesn't contain actual cannabis in terms of THC or CBD content. However, it does contain as a key ingredient hemp root oil. And hemp root oil is essentially our invention, that it's our extraction technology from the roots of the cannabis plant, which is a lot of companies waste, that we've created a new ingredient. So that's patent pending. This week we'll be making some announcements about how we're going to go into production for our extraction and production facility. But the overall international market for topicals for cannabis is very, very exciting. And it has far-reaching effects in terms of the potential it has to disrupt wellness, the potential as well just for regular use, not necessarily medical, but there's definitely a trend towards people wanting to use cannabis in their personal use products.
Yeah, and absolutely, and that's going to be a really, really large segment and part of this sector as we continue to grow and mature, both in the United States, where they actually are ahead of the game in that sense, where they're allowing these products already. But when it comes to Canada, as you said, it's still October 17th. We're waiting to see what that really looks like, but I think a lot of these products are really going to start making their way into this country as well. But when it comes to yourself, what different types of revenue streams is your company looking at? Are you taking, you said, hair products, different topicals and things like that. Are you going into edibles as well, or are you sticking more so to the nutraceutical side of things?
Yeah, well, we're a cannabis asset growth company, and we have a phenomenal team that we've put together. We have leaders from different sectors. So, for example, the chairman of Urban Juve, Tom Bond, he ran MAC Cosmetics 8 years. He was the COO and the CFO, and pretty much he would say the acting CEO of MAC Cosmetics that got bought by Estee Lauder. So he's probably one of the people with the most experience in terms of building a company from 10 million to hundreds of millions of sales in the makeup and the cosmetics industry. We also have Amy Frankel, who comes as general counsel from Aritzia and from Skechers, both multi-billion-dollar companies. We have our CFO, Rick, formerly worked at Coca-Cola. Our president of Urban Juve, Sandy Lazur, has a huge amount of experience in bringing different cosmeceuticals and dermatologist products to market. So that's where our expertise is initially. So the topicals is an obvious choice. But as we decide how we're going to grow our topicals and we look at what we really need in each jurisdiction, is we need a microprocessing license or just a plain processing license or an R&D license, depending on what the jurisdiction is. It's framed a little bit differently in every state and every country, just on how they wrote the legislation. And what we realized is once we set up this sort of international network of licenses, we've got distribution channels for topicals, then it really works very well for edibles too.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see us getting into the edible game in the near future. It's a little different than topicals. You don't have the same kind of shelf life. Most of our products on the topical side have a 2-year shelf life, and they also have a very high profit margin. Makeup is crazy. Personal care products really have an incredible margin. So some of our products, we're looking at around an 80% to 90% product margin right off the gate, not including marketing, of course. But if you compare that to flour, and just how the LPs and even the dispensaries now are struggling with trying to make a profit margin on it's basically disintegrating into nothing. So there's a lot of opportunity to make money in topicals. I haven't done all the work on the edibles to see what the opportunity is, but it kind of makes sense that we'll pair up with edible companies in the distribution network that we're creating.
Mm-hmm. And are you currently selling products throughout, and what different states are you currently in as of today?
Right. So we just a couple weeks ago announced a deal in Oregon. So we teamed up with a licensed manufacturer there, and we're going to launch our first 8 CBD and THC containing products down there. So we're going to do CBD and THC oils that's going to use our carrier. We're also going to do our pain balm, massage oil, pain patch, and really a bunch of products designed to treat pain. So this is going into the heavy duty THC, not even just CBD, but really going to the types of products that we think will really change people's lives. If they have arthritis, they're suffering from any kind of pain, rather than have to take very serious opiates, this could be a treatment that really could help them. There's about 400 stores in Oregon that are part of this distribution network that we signed on to. So I think we're just finalizing the details of how we're moving sort of the bulk of our product down there, finalizing the packaging details. We should have our first products in Oregon by the end of April.
Very nice. And you recently just started trading in the last couple of months, I believe. How long has your stock been trading for? But also, when you went into that, was that a reverse takeover, or did you go straight into the CSE?
We did an IPO onto the CSE. We came out in a very odd time. I've been in the business, the capital markets, for 20 years. I've taken 100 companies public and decided to take a risk and go public on December 14th, which, it can be tricky because people aren't paying attention and so on. But we had some pretty good volume. We started off our first day with 4 million shares, our second day with 4 million shares. Yesterday was our biggest day so far. I think we traded about 6 million shares. We also just opened up into the U.S. markets on the OTC. We're not on the QB yet, so that will obviously open up the opportunity for a lot more Americans to buy our stock. But overall, we must have done over 25 million in volume. Our price has gone from 16 cents up to, I haven't checked it in the past 5 minutes, but we're close to 51 cents yesterday, which is terrific. And if you look at the valuations of other companies with the kind of assets we do, I think we're still very undervalued.
Yeah, and when it comes to your management structure or your share structure of your company, how much of that float is currently locked up and in control of management opposed to what is free trading with retailers at this time?
Right. So there's about 78 million shares out, which isn't bad for a company of our size. You see cannabis companies out there with hundreds of millions of shares out. We have a very tight share structure. Of that, I own about 22 million, which is 20 million locked up. There's another 15 million locked up to various other parties. So that's taking 35 million out of it. So I'd say our float is really about 35 million. Of that, there's probably 2 or 3 million that really have another 3-month restriction just because they were issued at a lower price. So let's ballpark around 32 million shares for our float. That float, if you do the numbers, it's pretty much been bought out of the market. So that's where we saw, the past couple of days, a bit of an increase in price. We have lots of people interested in buying the stock because we're in the right industry now. We're in the industry part, the part of cannabis that people can see that's where you're going to make money. We're already in revenues. We've done 2.5 million revenues on our books as of August 31st. So we definitely have the appetites, and now the selling is going up. So we're pretty excited about where our stock's going to go. We can just look at the math and say, okay, there's less pressure to sell, and there's still lots of interest. So let's hopefully see the price keep going up.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I appreciate very much last minute coming on the show and being able to talk about your company and really give you a direction, because I was actually even more recently went public than I had first alluded to. So it's a new company that not many people have seen it ticker, although as I was saying earlier, it's starting to make its way through all these various different chat rooms. So obviously you're doing something right if people are looking into that. So we thought getting you on the show, talking a little bit more about you, going over the share structure really quickly, but also just where do we expect you to go in 2019? It sounds like you got a lot of different ideas and a lot of different places that you want to go.
We have a very, very capable management team. We're building a very big e-commerce platform for various products. We have a legal network around the world that can advise us quickly on the legislation that's changing each territory. So we're trying to build the biggest topical company in the world. But topicals is just really one of the angles. Like I said before, we might get into edibles, but when you're in topicals, there's the opportunity to take the pharmaceutical route, and we're already starting to talk to doctors about maybe we take one product, group a little bit more, take it into clinical trials. That's a huge cost in some cases, but the lucky thing with cannabis is we all know that you can smoke it, it's not going to kill you. So as an initial ingredient, you can sort of start with that as a plant. And we'd really like to get into a little bit more demonstration through maybe informal clinical trials, maybe formal clinical trials in another country, to maybe get some of our drugs to the point where they can get approved as full drugs. So over the next year, we'll be working towards that, as well as developing our international network. So we're now selling in Canada, e-commerce and retail. We've announced our deal in Oregon. We're now looking to acquire any company that has a license to manufacture cannabis, any jurisdiction, or we're looking to apply for the license ourselves. So we are looking to expand into California, Nevada. There's a bunch of states that became recently legal, so we're going to look at those. We're also very interested in the entire European Union, and we've put feelers out to China. So by the end of this year, I hope we're in 9 or 10 different jurisdictions.
Yeah, very, very aggressive plan that you have, and I look forward to seeing that throughout the year, having you come back on the show in the next little while, and let's go over some progress of what you've been able to accomplish in that time. For people who want to learn more about your company, where can they find your website and some more information about you?
So our website is yieldgrowth.com. If you want to find out about a product, you can buy our products at urbanjuve.com. That's urbanjuve.com. Our symbol is BOSS in Canada, and in the US, it's BOSQF.
Perfect. Well, again, thank you for taking your time today to come on the show. I appreciate you just talk a little bit more about your company. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day as well then.
Thank you so much. It's been a great opportunity.
And thank you very much for that, Penny. That was fantastic. Thank you.
Great interview, Brandon. What was that stock trading at in December?
Oh, Carl, let me tell you.
Oh,
Please do.
Oh, you're going to guess?
Yeah, I'm going to say 22 cents.
So December 19th, it was at 17.5 cents.
You wrong.
Yeah, I was
So
wrong.
not even a month later, they are up a lot.
When
Yeah.
everyone was scared.
Well, it's fantastic. And I appreciate very much, Penny, because we were having that interview, and just before we were going, her laptop wasn't working properly, so she soldiered it out and had the phone up the entire time. So thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. That was a great interview.
So, what are we looking at? What's going on in the market right now? We had some movers, and I just had it up a moment ago. I want to see if I can get back to that really quickly here, because weed is absolutely ripping right now.
It's actually pulled back a little bit, Brandon.
Did it just pull back? 43.86. That's how quick it can happen, eh? If you're not staring right at it, you're done. But this is something we want to look at. If you want to pull up the screen here. I'm just going to switch this
Look at those
around.
Yeah, that's a lot.
A lot better. So it bounced off of here. So this is exactly what we were talking about when we first started the show, of seeing your PPO cross. It's not above zero yet. You really want them pointing down here at this this red and blue lines down here. There is a little bit of volume in it. There's a really strong candle here, but you see the wick on top. That wick just formed as it tried to break out of that, out of those Bollinger Bands. I think that's the 50-day moving average that's on top of it. If it can close above there, I think that's really bullish. But it's clearly it's pulled back a little bit here in the last couple of minutes since I last looked at this. But
Yeah, it's just you're looking at weed, right?
just we're looking at weed. Yeah.
It's just a little breather. I mean,
Yeah.
this thing could easily rip. I think we're maybe going to see a strong power hour here, but
Yep.
you never know.
Isn't it fascinating though that
in a while.
I have it on quote stream here that its market cap is $13.5 billion, and we're watching a $13.5 billion company add 11.79% to its market value in one day. Like, that's crazy. That's
Well,
not normal.
No, but it's cannabis, man.
Yeah, it's cannabis. It's the Wild Wild West.
Stuff was banned for years,
Yeah,
decades.
and yet everyone
Centuries.
still smoked and ate it. That's a fact. Don't try to fight it.
You know what I really want to get into?
What's that?
Esports.
Esports.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't want to I don't want to play. Got other things to do.
Yeah. But you want to invest in it.
But listen, I'm the
It's a big
oddball.
market,
I'm the
man.
loser, okay? Because a lot of people like esports.
Dude,
but
I love esports.
Yeah,
man.
yeah, and
NHL
I-
19's mom.
But as an investor, I think 2019 could be a breakout year.
Yep.
And there's a company that I'm looking into. I think they're called Overactive Media.
Yep.
And I'm thinking they're going to be the leader in this space. They're a private company, and I've consulted with a few people, and their name's been brought up by everybody that I've reached out to that knows the space.
Yep.
And the consensus is that they're going to go public, and the other companies are going to try to ride the wave with them.
Can we stamp that right now? Do we have one of the, I don't know what
Well,
kind of
but
graphics
again,
you have back
I know
there.
I'm not taking credit.
No,
for
we're
that.
stamping it. We're
I'm not
stamping
taking
it.
credit for that. But anyways,
That's
I asked a few
overactive.
people.
You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Ish. Maybe. Probably other places. But you heard it here first. Overactive is going to be a big thing to watch.
Yeah.
And esports.
And the esports, yeah. And so I've reached out to a couple people, and they both said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So we're gonna go to the
Okay.
the
feelings out there, right?
the Canatech conference at the end of the month. And
Where are we gonna be?
The CEO is, don't bother me, Greg.
Come on.
What is that?
Tell everyone
We're
where
going to
we'll
the
be.
Metro Convention Center
darn
on
right.
January
Oh.
29th. That's a Tuesday before the show.
Come say hi.
And the CEO of Overactive is presenting.
Yep.
So we're going to probably chase him down.
FTMIG live.
Look at this. Tony Klusterman.
Go on.
It says, sponsor my esports racing team, please. Interesting. Very interesting. We'll have to look into this.
Pretty cool.
For all of the people watching, like we're actually like dead serious. We were joking about it, like in our tone of voice.
But
or
you
at
see,
least I
people
was.
are interested in esports, man.
I think esports is going to be huge because I just watched my youngest brother, and he will spend
Yeah, see,
hours.
he's got the chair, dude. You're not
You'll
an
watch-
esportser until you got the fucking chair.
The chair, you
doesn't
have to have the headset, you have to
But he
have
watches it.
everything,
You go onto YouTube. So there was an event. What was it? It was an esports event where this event got more views than the Super Bowl.
Correct.
The Super Bowl,
Dude, listen,
This is huge, and people aren't talking about
I'm
it
new
yet.
to it, and I went into a rabbit hole, and I was just watching people playing games, and I'm like, I'm looking for the bloopers where they fall off their chair and they throw their fucking headset. It's great.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things now where we want to start looking into it more, because I don't really get it right now, I'll be honest. But when I first went into cannabis, although I may or may not have consumed before going into cannabis, I still didn't know much about the market, and you've got to learn all that. So I think we're going to start doing that. I know you're really excited about it.
I would think with a shirt like that, you would know everything.
I do know everything. I am,
The shirt says all.
what is it, omnipotent? Omnipotent?
I'll have to Google that, Brandon.
I think
I don't
the
learn
all-knowing, it's omni something.
What else? So we're gonna look into esports, get some people on her.
The
that'd be
studio
great to get some people on.
studio saying you're supposed to say impotent. I'm like, oh, I don't think that's it either.
Moving on.
Oh, moving on to what?
Moving on to Bin Booty.
Men Moody. No, with an M though. MedMen. They're getting sued too.
Yeah.
MedMen, there was something coming out saying that one of the original investors in the company and directors are suing them for their judiciary Fiduciary, thank you.
Say it again.
For what they're doing for their company. They're not doing their fiduciary duty.
Dude, oh my god. Your brain thinks too fast, man.
Was that from the shirt or the
Just
cannabis
slow
use
it
when I was
down.
younger? Yeah, one of the two. One of the two. But that could be big. That's a main investor in their company suing them because they do not believe that they are doing their fiduciary duty.
Fiduciary? What?
We'll try again tomorrow. But I think that was pretty big news, though. That's 2 cannabis companies in the news today with lawsuits, and then a third cannabis company in the news today trending. It is not a lawsuit, but in fact, Kush Bottles has just taken over the #2 spot in gross revenue per quarter in the entire world. They are at 25.3.
Nobody cares about number 2.
Everyone
I'm
cares
just
about
kidding.
25.3 million US
That's huge.
a quarter. That's
Kush
actually
been around for a long time.
that's pretty damn big.
I have high expectations for the U.S. cannabis companies when it comes to revenue.
Well, we got 30 mil coming to my side here. Brandon got that swag today. Thank you. It's very nice of you. I don't have the ability to talk though, but I have the swag apparently.
30 mils blind, so I don't know how he's doing that.
Omnipresent. We were getting all these people coming in here. Thank you for helping whatever the Omni was, and not Omni, which was a great show back when I was younger.
Oh boy.
Omni 1 and 2. I used to watch like TVO
He
and
just stops talking.
and
We
Kangaroo
just
and
had our own
everything.
combo. Or we just left and went for fucking sushi. Let him finish the show off.
I could actually. Yeah.
He
My
could.
job is to talk.
I
folks.
don't doubt he could.
My
Probably don't even notice we're
my
going.
top is to talk.
What else? Hey,
That's
you
what
know
I'm
what?
doing
Let's
now.
do some trolling, man. Go let's troll some Facebook groups.
All right, pull them up. Pull them up. Who are we doing? Who are we doing?
You need your NDI.
Yeah.
We need my NDI.
Here, I'll give you a name of a Facebook group. Okay? And let's see what they're doing. Let's head
I
on
didn't
over.
even see that.
And just some runners today, by the way. We'll do 12 the 2-digit runners. real
Go
quickly while
into
you're
the
finishing.
PMJ stocks.
PMJ stocks.
Yeah.
All right, one moment with the NDI because I have my personal email up.
Oh.
You just tell me, see me, making fun of Carl and Greg in there, so I don't want to see
Sure.
that. What's it called? PMJ?
PMJ stocks.
PMJ
It's a good
stocks.
And there's an article.
Oh, I'm not a part of it. I have to
top
join.
candidate.
I have to join.
Well, that's why you plan things, guys. Okay.
I know. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you
Okay,
rate your stock market
go to
experience?
Canadian marijuana stock
11.
traders.
Sorry?
That's right.
Marijuana Canadian stock traders?
Oh, this is a
Canadian-
good
I
one.
was listening. So marijuana, Canadian marijuana stock traders?
Correct.
All right.
And there is an article from the BMO.
Hey, I did join this one.
CIBC provides $80 million loan to Canopy Growth, affiliated pot company.
Really?
Correcto.
That's actually very interesting.
Another bank getting into this.
Where am I supposed to go? I'm scrolling.
See, it's an active,
Don't worry, man. It's not a rush.
Facebook group.
Where is it?
Google Frank Thomas. He's the gentleman who posted it.
Just yelling at me and telling me what to do, eh?
Dude, you don't have to rush.
Oh, I see it here. Yeah. BMO, CIBC, and this is the power of these. If you want to put my NDI up there, power of these various groups. Find communities to be a part of. BMO, CIBC provide $80 million loan to Canopy Growth, affiliate pot company. Farmhouse. I have not heard of Farmhouse before. Have you guys?
Click on the
No.
link there.
We're clicking on the link here.
Okay.
2 of Canada's largest banks going in. This is what you got to do on a daily basis. Just keep going here, keep learning. Farmhouse, a joint venture part owned by Canopy Rivers. We had Daniel in here a few weeks ago from Canopy Rivers.
Focus.
They're everywhere.
The bank loan is one of the largest provided to a private company in the cannabis space, top-tier bank, by a top-tier bank, most of which are still warming up to the industry despite the legal status of recreational cannabis in Canada. I love that. And this is why. Because there's been, for anybody who's been in the cannabis space, as we've been going on, there's been certain moments, and you can look at the charts. You used to always say go back and look at the charts.
Yeah.
Certain moments like saying that we're going to legalize cannabis or talking about it. You've got the Canopy and Constellations. You've got actually Canopy and what was the big merger? Canopy and MetaPharm? they're already out of my mind. Metrum, that was one of the big first, amalgamations.
M&As,
And then you've got the fact of the HMMJ Horizons. That was huge. That was an ETF being made. Like, oh my goodness, is this actually legit?
That was a big move.
And then you keep going on. There's all these different things. Legalization coming through, C45 passing. But one of the bigger ones are these banks coming in, because although they gave us the biggest opportunity, I think, as an investor could have had the longest time of private placements and actually getting into it, wouldn't have been this much if they can go to a bank. It's huge seeing these massive banks saying, you know what, no, we got you now. We will put money into this. This is legitimate, and that's way farther than even the United States right now, where they actually cannot go through banks.
Head on over to the Cannabis Investors Group.
Not even going to respond to what I said. You just hurt my feelings.
I'm just trying to get you to talk, Brandon. Then soon it'll be the keg time.
You had to. Oh, we're going to the keg has to start. Like, actually, we need money for promoting them so much. We finish here. We go over there. You get your cauliflower, fantastic. You gotta try it.
You mean broccoli?
The rib
Dude,
steak
focus,
medium
focus.
with French fries.
Focus.
2 loaves, 3 cheese butter, and a Diet Pepsi. That's what this guy gets. That's how much we order there. 1 lime.
But he doesn't
Not
know.
two.
Nobody fucking
We're gonna
cares.
get coffee with 1 ice cube.
Oh God. Kill the show.
Yeah.
So which one are we going to?
I already told you, but you went off on a
Cannabis.
tangent.
I do tange.
The Cannabis Investors Group.
That was in tan. Good job.
Good focus. The Cannabis Investors Group.
We like to have fun here, Carl. We like to smile. Can we get a smile over here? Can we get a camera on Carl? On Carl? There's the smile, folks. It's coming through. So what are we looking at here? The Canopy Latum starting the year strong?
It's from Roy.
Ooh.
Union leader outs location of secret Ontario cannabis warehouse.
I read that this morning. That is, I cannot believe that, actually.
Yeah. That's why we need to share it, because it's unbelievable.
So here it is. I've been following the adventures of Cannabis Wheaton. So he's not coming up in here. But that's actually really, really interesting article. Let's just go to it. I'll try Googling it here. That was like this guy pretty much gets in. He gets in a little hissy fit. I don't know what the name of the article is. Do you know the title? And it basically said, you know what? Screw you.
Union leader
I'm going to give it all to you.
outs location of secret Ontario cannabis company.
Let's see if we pop up here.
You don't like? Do you not have the Facebook group? You're not in that one either.
Couldn't see it. So we get my my NDI up here. Union leader outs location of secret Ontario cannabis warehouse. He was angered that the police can't speak at all. He was angered that police were called to stop recruitment. Release his address of Ontario's high security storage location. Now, I'm assuming this is where the OCS has all of their cannabis. They're stored and they're storing it there. People get angry at stuff and they get mad, and this is what happens. But so if you want to know, he released the address. If you got an armed vehicle and you're feeling a little rowdy right now, you can go and apparently rob the Ontario government. I don't suggest that even remotely.
Very spiteful thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Jesus.
But that's what happens sometimes, right? It's people, they're all over the place, man. They're all over. It's on CBC News as well. Christopher says, what a mulligan. And you know what? Probably right. I call him a snitch, but whatever you want to call him. But some people just act like that. So it's interesting how these things come across from day to day. And we also want to quickly say as well, we apologize. Jonny Mac could not come on the show today. We were really trying to get him. There was some stuff that came up. So we did not break down Hexo, Freya, and T-God.
Yeah.
But Carl could pull up those charts and do it all for us. Carl.
What are you talking about? You're doing pretty well.
I would just look for 5-cent raises with 10 or 11-cent warrants.
Is that what we're doing? Very nice, very nice. So I've got Hexo up. We want to pull it up here. This is we'll take a look at them really quickly here because it has been ripping. You notice that there's been a trend here. A lot of these things were finding bottoms when the year first began or ended, and this has been riding the whole way up here. It's above all of your key resistance, whether it be your 200-day, 100-day, EMA. It's just underneath. See how it bounced off here? The top of the wick just bounced off both the Bollinger Bands, but also the 100-day moving average. It's got to get above that. But a lot of these things are showing this because we had tax loss selling. We had what I think was aggressively overselling this sector, let alone markets in general. And here we are now. I think a lot of people are coming back in. Is that permanent? I don't know, but that's Hexo. We also said we were going to do T-God, Danny Brody and crew, one of the hardest workers in cannabis. That one has set a lower low actually, and it's coming back down. So, it's not doing the same as the other one. It's set a lower low along here.
Interesting, eh?
It's come back up. It hasn't really had that momentum that these other players have had right now. So, and that it's really stuck in this huge bolus of volume here. If you out zoom the screen in the studio, guys, this huge bolus of volume right around this 225 to 325 area. But funny enough, it hasn't followed like the other players. And then lastly, we said Afria, which has been an absolute trader's paradise. If you're a trader, you would love what they've done this last little while. They have been making a little bit of run, but nothing as aggressive as Canopy showed and as Hexo showed. So, if you were holding out and you were getting back in at the beginning of the year, I think you'd be doing pretty good in the markets right now.
Oh, 100%. Do your tax loss and then take all the money and put it back in.
Yep.
Rinse and repeat.
Except for the mining sector is still.
What did GT Gold do today?
Yeah, so GT Gold. So what's the ticker again? GTT?
I feel like all these mining companies are now putting out their news releases because they know people have money again.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the venture was too.
So
it might have turned.
GT Gold came out with a pretty nice assay results today. I know people in our mining chats were enjoying what they've seen. There's a lot of ground that they were covering on that. And people are like, oh, this is awesome. Let's see what the market responds to. The market responded well, but look what's happened ever since. It's a huge
What's
upward
it at?
wave.
Is it still up or is it up or down for the day?
So right now we are at, let's grab an L2 of it actually. So it's down now. It's down 8% from where it opened.
8%.
It's down 8%. So it was a liquidity event.
Yep, down. Well,
how many shares?
It really jumped up. How many shares are traded? We have seen 3 million shares traded. 67 cents is on the bid. 69 is on the ask. And yeah, it's seen. If we go through the price history, it's actually been coming up a little bit over the last little while. But this is a gold company that's come out and said, hey, we've got some pretty good results here, and they didn't have any market reaction.
Well, they did, but
they had reaction just in the wrong way.
It's a liquidity event.
Yeah. What other mining news releases came out today? We had Triumph Gold Corp. They came out saying that they are client of FTMIG. They came out stating that they have tripled their land package, their BC land package.
Found a lot of copper.
Supposedly, that's a very high percentage. I'm very curious about where that is. Situated to get 67% copper. That's a very, very high number. But the biggest thing there is that the fact that they're tripling their land package, believing that they've got more of a system. That news can be found at FTMIG.com. That came out as well. We'll have to get them on the show. I'd love to have the Geos come on because they could probably explain their results a lot better than we can. That, Greg,
is a fact.
Finish my words. We've got such a good connection on this now. But why don't we end the show for today? I appreciate everyone coming on. For our guests that came on the show, thank you very much as well. For Carl, looking good today, folks.
You don't like my Roots sweater usually? I got chirp last week, so I said, you know what? Let me put on my shirt.
Yeah, that's a good one. Fits really nicely, got a good color to it. And Greg just is pretty much like an Abercrombie model over here. He's always looking good. What did that guy say? 20 up top, 40
we don't have to talk about it. No big deal. It's on the show.
He's going with the nice pepper and gray beard, people. Relax
Salt and
here.
pepper, yeah.
And the watch. You guys show the watch before we go. It's fantastic. He's a watch man. You never have to worry about small watches with Greg. But I appreciate everybody. We'll tune in next week. And enjoy the rest of your day. We got Midas letter coming up at 3 o'clock. Tune in.